October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and as we close out the month, local advocates want you to know that help is available year-round. Tonight, an event aimed at putting an end to domestic violence was held at Greater St. Lawrence Missionary Baptist Church in Alexandria. Our Jay McCulley was there and has more.
The event, titled Rise Above Domestic Violence, featured local advocate and counselor Candy Kristoff as the guest speaker. Kristoff shared her personal connection to the issue, having witnessed her mother being abused as a child.
I find that between high school and college, that's when you begin to ask yourself, am I going to accept this, or am I going to break the mold out of this?
Kristoff is also a survivor herself, enduring abuse from a high school boyfriend, trauma that still lingers today.
Feeling whether or not you're good enough, whether or not you're worthy enough, is something that always lurches in the background.
The event featured resources available to both survivors and offenders of domestic violence. Kristoff offers services through her Reentry Solutions program and Kristoff Counseling and Associates.
Help is here in our community, and support is too.
Kristoff also spoke directly to faith leaders, including Pastor Otis W. Brown, urging them to pay attention to what's happening within their congregations.
Look what's going on in your pews, and that we need to be ready as a community to combat domestic violence.
The event was organized by local activist Alicia Jackson, who says these conversations wouldn't be possible without year-round support from organizations like Safe Haven of Sin Law, Faith House, the Family Justice Center, and the Domestic Abuse Resistance Team.
They do this every single day of their lives, and I'm just glad that they allowed me to be a part of such a united group, and I'm just ready to change lives with them.
You see, so many women stay because of the finances.
Kristoff believes breaking the cycle today can help shape the future.
When our homes have peace in them, we have a better next generation, and we can be that turning point.
I'm Jay McCulley reporting.